Hello, friends, and today we're plunging once more into the savage, untamed heart of the American Wild West to uncover the raw, brutal lives of a breed of men known as the mountain men. These were no ordinary souls. They were rugged outcasts who dared to push beyond the fringes of civilization, staking their claims on the frontier, that lawless edge where the known world dissolved into a nightmare of grizzly bears with jaws like steel traps, stealthy cougars lurking in the shadows, dense forests that swallowed men whole, and fierce Native American tribes who had every right to defend their ancestral lands from these invading strangers. These mountain men hunted for precious furs, navigated treacherous paths as guides, and embraced lives of pure, reckless adventure. They weren't shining knights or moral exemplars. Far from it. Their stories are laced with greed, betrayal, and bloodshed that will leave you stunned. Yet, their exploits are so gripping, so laced with peril and survival against impossible odds, that you can't look away. Over the years on this channel, I've pieced together videos about these legendary figures, but it struck me as only right to weave them all into one epic compilation. A podcast-style marathon where you can immerse yourself fully and grasp the essence of who these wild pioneers truly were. But before we charge headlong into these tales of horror and heroism, smash that like button if you're ready for the ride, and let's unleash these shocking narratives upon you. Chapter 1, Hugh Glass, the man who clawed back from the grave. Our opening saga centers on a figure whose name echoes through the annals of frontier lore like a ghostly howl. Hugh Glass, the quintessential trapper, or as they were dubbed in those blood-soaked days, a mountain man. To truly understand these trappers in the dawn of America's savage expansion, you can't boil it down to a simple label. They were a whirlwind of desperation and daring. Their core trade was the relentless pursuit of furs, those luxurious pelts that fetched fortunes back in the civilized East, rivaling the gleam of gold itself. Imagine the frenzy. Ermines with their silky white coats, sables as dark as midnight, silver foxes shimmering like moonlight on water, and beavers whose waterproof hides built empires. In their mad quest for these treasures, these fearless or foolhardy adventurers plunged ever deeper into North America's howling wilderness, territories where the boot of a white man had never scarred the earth. They rigged deadly traps in icy streams, stalked prey through thorn-choked thickets, and inevitably collided with native tribes who, until then, had lived in isolation from the pale-faced intruders. These were men forged in fire, outcasts who found no niche in the orderly world of farms and cities, driven by a burning hunger for wealth into lands that devoured the weak without mercy. But survival demanded cunning evolution. Soon, these hunters grasped a brutal truth. Prowling the woods alone for beasts yielded slim pickings compared to bartering with the natives themselves. This era predated the glittering madness of the California and Alaska gold rushes. Furs reigned supreme as the lifeblood of colonial commerce, pumping rivers of profit that could eclipse even the most glittering ore. Every imperial power with a toehold in the New World, Britain with its iron-fisted merchants, France with its voyageur legacy, Holland with its shrewd traders, dived into the fray, birthing colossal enterprises dedicated to harvesting, tanning, and hawking these pelts across oceans. Yet, amid this global greed, our mountain men carved their own feral path. They endured endless seasons in the clutches of primeval forests, laying snares that snapped shut on unsuspecting quarry, drifting like ghosts from one tribal encampment to the next. In exchange for stacks of glossy furs, they dangled temptations the natives had never dreamed of. Gleaming iron kettles that outlasted clay, razor-sharp knives that sliced through hide like butter, explosive gunpowder that thundered with godlike power, sturdy steel needles for sewing hides into unbreakable garments, and a myriad of other trinkets that seemed like sorcery from another world. To the tribes, these items were worth kingdoms, far eclipsing any earthly riches. From humble beast slayers, these wanderers morphed into nomadic peddlers, traversing vast swaths of uncharted territory, mastering the tongues of diverse tribes, and forging bonds that could mean the difference between life and a gruesome end. Astonishingly, they bridged gaps even with the most warlike clans, where pious missionaries, clad in their crosses and Bibles, met fiery deaths, scalped and mutilated in rituals of defiance. The trappers often bartered in peace, their pragmatic trades earning grudging respect. In those primordial times, Mountain men proved indispensable to all who scratched out existence in the wild, to natives craving the wonders of metal and fire, and to the trickle of white pioneers inching westward. Beyond mere commerce, they carried whispers of the wider world, rumors of distant wars, tales of bountiful hunting grounds, warnings of encroaching armies, spanning territories that would dwarf modern states. Crucially, they served as fragile diplomats, fluent in dialects and customs, mediating feuds, brokering uneasy truces, and navigating the powder keg of cultural clashes that could erupt into wholesale slaughter at a moment's notice. So, peel back the layers and what emerges? A trapper, a mountain man, was a multifaceted force. A lethal hunter with an unerring aim, a shrewd trader haggling over pelts in smoke-filled lodges, an intrepid scout charting rivers and passes on makeshift maps scrawled in blood and charcoal, a polyglot whisperer of ancient languages, a bearer of tidings that could save villages or doom them, and above all, a hard-bitten rogue thriving in chaos. As the frontier's veins pulsed with more settlers, many transitioned into expedition guides for wide-eyed scientists probing the unknown, escorts shielding wagon trains from ambushes, founders of ramshackle trading posts that blossomed into outposts of empire, and eagle-eyed scouts for the U.S. Army's relentless campaigns. Yet, let's shatter any illusions of nobility. These were profit-driven predators, often peddling rock-gut whiskey that hooked tribes into addiction, trading lives for liquor in a cycle of despair. They led vengeful raids, torching villages and scalping foes, their hands stained with the blood of innocents. No angels these. They were devils in buckskin, chasing gold at any cost. In the fur trade's golden fever from 1820 to 1840, a mere 3,000 souls claimed the title of mountain man, an elite cadre of survivors amid a sea of graves. Among them towered Hugh Glass, whose ordeal defies belief and etches him as an immortal legend of endurance. Born in 1783 amid Philadelphia's bustling streets to Englishman William Glass, a prosperous stonemason whose chisels built the young nation's foundations, Hugh grew up in comfort. His father, envisioning a life of ledgers and courts, pushed for law school, but Hugh's spirit rebelled, lured by horizons where maps faded into blank terror. William, ever the pragmatist, pivoted to geography and surveying, fields blending adventure with steady paychecks, tools for taming the wild. Hugh balked again. Defeated but supportive, his father indentured him to a captain at Horn & Sons, a trading firm whose ships plied treacherous seas. At 16, Hugh swabbed decks as a lowly cabin boy, but his sharp mind and iron will propelled him upward. By his mid-20s, he gripped the helm as a seasoned navigator, charting courses through storms that swallowed lesser men. The War of 1812 ignited, pitting America against Britain in a frenzy of cannon fire and blockades. Hugh turned smuggler, ferrying forbidden rum and sugar from Cuba's sultry shores, dodging patrols in moonless nights. Anchored in Havana for cargo, a letter from his mother shattered his world. His father dead, inheritance awaiting. He booked passage on a Spanish merchant vessel bound for Philadelphia, but fate's cruel hand intervened. Pirates stormed aboard, cutlasses flashing in the Caribbean sun. This wasn't fiction. It was Hugh's harrowing reality. Captured by the notorious Jean Lafitte, whose pirate republic in Campeche on Galveston Island mocked empires, Hugh found himself in chains. Yet, his scholarly prowess in stars and maps dazzled the buccaneers. Such expertise outweighed any ransom. For years, he sailed as their navigator, plotting raids that plundered galleons laden with Spanish gold. Was he a coerced slave or a willing cutthroat? History veils the truth. Hugh sealed his lips on those dark voyages. November 1820 brought retribution. U.S. warships razed Lafitte's lair, scattering the pirates like rats. Hugh fled north, but Spanish authorities seized him, probing for piracy ties. Cleared but stranded, he faced a gauntlet of hostile tribes barring his path home. One fateful night, Pawnee riders, 15 shadows on horseback, ensnared him. Dragged to their camp, he braced for the stake's flames, but mercy or mystery spared him. 3 years among the Pawnee transformed him. He absorbed wilderness lore, tracking ghosts through snow, crafting bows from sinew, enduring blizzards that froze the soul. Embraced as kin, he fluent in their tongue and dialects beyond, thriving in their nomadic rhythm. In 1821, he rode into St. Louis with a Pawnee peace delegation, the frontier's gateway pulsing with fur traders and dreamers. He lingered, but boredom gnawed. A newspaper ad ignited his fire. The Rocky Mountain Fur Company recruited for a Missouri River thrust into oblivion. Riches promised. Volunteers swarmed. In early 1823, Ashley's 100 marched, a ragtag army of misfits. No picnic. Trackless wilds, beasts with fangs like daggers, climates that swung from scorching hell to Arctic tomb, and tribes viewing them as invaders. Clashes erupted with Arikara warriors, bullets whistling. Hugh took lead in the thigh, agony searing. Reinforcements arrived months later, pushing onward. Major Andrew Henry commanded Hugh's subgroup, aiming for Fort Henry on the Yellowstone's Fork, a bastion against the void. Weeks shy, Hugh, veteran scout forging ahead, stumbled into doom. Late August 1823, Grand River's dense woods. Alone, he disturbed a grizzly mother, 8 feet of fury, 880 pounds of muscle and rage. She reared. Hugh fired point-blank at her heart. Single-shot era, no reload. The blast wounded but enraged. She pounced, claws rending flesh, teeth gnashing bone. He screamed, knife flashing futilely as she mauled him into a bloody pulp. Comrades slew the beast, revealing horror. Leg shattered, back flayed to ribs, face and chest striped with gashes, arm shredded, throat ripped open, breath hissing like a punctured bellows, blood frothing. A companion stitched crudely, bound scalp with rags. Death loomed inevitable. Expeditions claimed lives routinely, fevers, venoms, beasts, arrows. Yet, honor bound them. Abandoning kin invited scorn in saloons back east. Leaders like Ashley clung to gentility's shreds. A litter fashioned, they hauled him pace-crawling. Hiram Allen's memoirs paint the torment. Henry's order for branches, carrying the gore-soaked wretch, but delays mounted. Winter loomed. Fur quotas demanded haste. Hugh faded. Henry decreed, leave him with 2 for burial rites. John Fitzgerald, opportunistic rogue, and Green Jim Bridger volunteered. 5 days they waited, but fear gripped. Arikara stalked. Fitzgerald persuaded Jim. Hugh's done. Let's go. They dumped the comatose man in a ditch, dirt scattered, fleeing with his gear as evidence. Hugh awoke in his shallow tomb, torment unimaginable, famished, parched. Berries sustained delirium. A rattlesnake slain, raw flesh devoured. Strength trickled back. He crawled toward Fort Kiowa, 200 miles downstream, logical over upstream pursuit. Hell's Odyssey. Inches gained daily, scavenging rot, wolves bison kill scavenged. Splint crafted, he staggered. Sioux found him, mended with resin and hide, gifted a skin boat. Downriver he floated, arriving September. 6 weeks post-mauling, a walking corpse. Vengeance ignited, betrayers must pay. Joining a brigade to Fort Henry, he learned of deserters. Winter trapped him. Spring brought pursuit to Fort Atkinson. Confronting Fitzgerald, now enlisted, Hugh reclaimed his rifle, spared by military edict. Bridger, youthful dupe, forgiven. Hugh trapped till 1833, slain by Arikara at 50. His resurrection inspired The Revenant, a testament to human defiance. Chapter 2, Jedediah Smith, the pious pathfinder amid savagery. Shifting gears to a man whose faith clashed with frontier ferocity. Jedediah Smith, born 1799 in Bainbridge, New York, to devout Methodists who instilled Bible-deep piety. He carried scripture like a talisman, shunning vice in a world drowning in it. Lewis and Clark's journals fired his imagination. At 23, he enlisted in Ashley's 100 in 1822, his literacy and resolve shining amid roughnecks. The 1823 Arikara siege tested him. After Ashley's rout, Jedediah orchestrated boat building under fire, earning promotion. Partnering Ashley, he blazed trails. 1824's South Pass rediscovery, a gentle Wyoming gap, unlocked the West for wagons, revolutionizing migration. That year, circumnavigating Great Salt Lake, He mistook it for Pacific Access error, but his maps endured. 1820 SIXS Southwest Trek. Mojave natives massacred 15. Survivors trudged to California, jailed as spies by Mexicans suspicious of Yankee incursions. Freed, Jedediah scaled Sierra Nevada. First white traversal, reuniting his party. 1827 brought Mojave betrayal. Another ambush slew 10. Jedediah escaped, regrouped. Undaunted, he pioneered California trail segments. 1831's end. Comanche lances felled him on Santa Fe Trail at 32. Teetotaler, non-smoker, his journals vivid chronicles of piety amid peril. A shocking contrast to the debauchery around him. Chapter 3, Jim Bridger, the visionary scout haunted by betrayal. Remember young Jim from Hugh's Tale? James Felix Bridger, born 1804 in Richmond, Virginia, orphaned young, apprenticed butcher. At 13, Blackfeet slaughtered his family on the Missouri. He survived, joining Ashley's 100 at 18. In Hugh's mauling, naive Jim yielded to Fitzgerald's deceit, abandoning the dead, guilt shadowing him forever. 1824. Solo Yellowstone probe, geysers, hot springs described, mocked as Bridger's lies. First white on Great Salt Lake, salting his tail literally. Master trapper, linguist in 26 dialects. 1842. Founded Fort Bridger, Wyoming waypoint for Oregon Trail pilgrims. Guided Donner Party, tragically, military campaigns. Married 3 Native women, Flathead, Ute, Shoshone. Offspring educated east after mother's deaths. Indian War scout, post-war, guided surveys. Died 1881, blind on Missouri farm. A life of discovery marred by early shame. Chapter 4, John Coulter, the original lone wolf of the wilds. Dubbed the first mountain man, John Coulter, born circa 1774 near Staunton, Virginia. Revolutionary war kin, tall, robust. Joined Lewis and Clark 1804 as hunter, vital through ordeals. 1806 return. At Mandan villages, he reversed, trapping with partners. 1807. Blackfeet ambush killed 1. Coulter fled. Captured later. Stripped naked. Given head start in run for life. 300 miles barefoot through cactus, surviving on roots. Reaching fort in 11 days, skeletal. Coulter's run legend. Explored Yellowstone. Boiling mud. Geysers. Coulter's hell dismissed as fantasy. Teton Traverse first by white. Died 1812 from jaundice on Missouri homestead, short life, eternal myth. Chapter 5, Lewis Wetzel, the scalp hunter's dark descent. Now a chilling figure, Lewis Wetzel, born 1763 on Ohio River, frontier child. At 13, with brother Jacob, 10, checking smoked venison, Wyandottes ambushed, Lewis chest shot, lung pierced, captured, bound, marched. Third night, escaped shoeless. Lewis stole moccasins, father's rifle, powder horn from sleeping foes. Evaded pursuit thrice, rafted Ohio, rescued by fishermen. Mastered run reloading, a near impossible feat with muzzle loaders. At 14, warned neighbors of raiders with Fraser. Found cabin ablaze, wife abducted. Pursued, swam river, spied camp. Dawn ambush. Shot 2, knifed others, scalped 4, rescued her. Scalps fetched bounties, ghastly trade. At 16, chased horse thieves alone. Comrades fled shootout. Fake death with hat trick. Ambush 2, chased 3rd, reloading mid-sprint. Over 27 scalps, or 100. 1779 to 1788. Grew hair to knees, tasseled slit earlobes, native mimicry unnerving settlers. 1788. Scouted for General Harmar. Killed Seneca Chief Guntek during peace parley. Tomahawk to back. Wanted for murder. Escaped twice. Once from irons amid mob support. Greenville Treaty 1795 ended wars. His purpose vanished. 1790s. New Orleans Jail. Briefly Lewis and Clark. Myth. Died 1808. Yellow fever under 45. Hero or monster. His vendetta, born of trauma, spiraled into atrocity. Violence's vicious cycle scarring all. Thoughts in comments. Like, subscribe, don't lurk, share with friends. Bye.